internet and played every game.
Who's kinda
Mr.
cute?
Felix, it's time to retire Field Sparkman.
How you going? So, I've got a problem. Chubby cats in my yard. You know, I used to have heaps of native birds, lizards, frogs, possums, and even little monkeys running around in my garden. But now, they've all been eaten and replaced with fat cats. And I tried dealing with this issue before by making a pathetic little squirting robot that I was hoping would spray water at the cats, terrifying them so much that they would run away and tell all their mates to keep clear of my yard. But who would have guessed that after I stupidly placed heaps of tuna cans down in my yard to get the cats positioned where I could squirt them and take photos, that I've kind of created a bigger problem. And now, more cats keep coming back for the all-you-can-eat fish and shower buffet combo. And more, and more. In total, I've counted around 15 different cats. And I probably see them now on a daily basis. And to make it worse, they often wake me up at night with their domestic arguments.
Oi, shut up! Thank you.
And I am dreaming of the day when the native animals will once again return to my yard, living in a happy, symbiotic relationship with everything in it. So today, I'm going to try and make that happen. Alright, so let's quickly make an unbiased pros and cons list of cats to work out how abusive I'm allowed to be to them. And first up, they're kind of hot. You know, they're probably the most bootylicious animal out there. And I'm not being creepy by saying this. Society is. Think about Halloween and every party. They're always filled with hundreds of cliched girls dressed up as naughty cats. It's like the default costume for any girl wanting to be attractive. Why not dogs? Or fish? You know, I'm still waiting for Frog Woman. And I don't know why we think they're so hot. Maybe it's not actually the inherent characteristics of cats that turn us on, but because throughout history we have associated cats with women in this strange, mysterious, seductive way. Like, look at the Egyptians. They fetishized cats so much that they wanted to be tied up in eternity with them. Or maybe it actually is a cat thing, you know, because after hours of scratching the crap out of you, they still need to get a feed out of you. So they seduce you by walking over and wrapping their tail around your legs, rubbing them up and down while dancing on you, making you feel dirty like a stripper pole in an outback trucker bar. And then you're slightly turned on, but you realize it's a cat. So you quickly feed it and then book a session with your therapist. And I have no idea how to feel about this characteristic, so it's going right in the middle. Alright, next. Murder. They are very good at murder. I actually kind of respect how good at murder they are. Out of all the pets, cats are probably the best evolved killers in the world. They have knives glued to their hands, do parkour, see in the dark, and have a kill to death ratio of 1 billion to 1. It's estimated every year cats kill 2 billion native animals in Australia, while also spreading deadly parasites. This parasite infects the brain of animals, even humans, and slows them down, making them calmer around cats. And the government has tried lots to stop their killing rampage, like making murder illegal in Australia, setting up cat barriers, and paying people to hunt them, but nothing seems to stop them murdering small birds, mammals, and reptiles. Except for one thing, being very large, which works for big animals in Australia, like this emu here, and here. So their murdering abilities are going to be a con, as I don't really want Australia to be filled with giant birds, as they kind of freak me out a little bit. But maybe you're into Big Bird, and you may feel different. Okay, next point. They own you. You know, with normal pets, like a fish, turtle, or dog, you get them, and it's very clear to the pet and to you that you're the boss. You know, you feed them, provide shelter and love.
Today, in the menu, we have, it's a chicken spicy deluxe chicken sandwich, dude, from Chick-fil-A.
In return for a small amount of daily animal affection, which keeps you going in your depressing life. But with cats, that's not really the case. They are hunters, straddling the line between domestic and wild. One minute they're entertaining you playing with a stupid toy, and the next they're roaming the night, committing genocide. you really can't tell them what to do. In a study about emotional attachment between owner and pet, scientists drew lines on the ground and tested the response that pets had to being left without their owners. The lines showed that cats don't really feel much emotional attachment and don't really care about their owner, which makes me wonder why people really like them as pets at all. Like, you know, there are other options, like ants. They're cheap, plentiful, fit in your pocket, and can actually be very emotionally supportive.
Nice. Thank you.
Alright, I'm out of jokes, so let's just go catch these fat cats. When I tried this before in my last video, I got a lot of comments calling me a monster for scaring cats. And I do understand caring for cats. I feel bad for them as well, as after all, it's not their fault. They're just doing what they were born to do, murder everything. And we're actually the ones who are the dicks, because we introduced them to the environment in the first place. But I still feel scaring them is justified, right, as slightly spooking them could stop them from coming into my yard, potentially saving lives. And if it's a choice between slightly scaring a cat or letting cute animals get ripped apart, the only logical choice is to spook some cats. And if you think otherwise, your brain is definitely being controlled by one of these boys. Now, before I resort to fully spooking them, I'm going to try some less traumatic deterrents to see if they do anything. And some of you suggested all I need to do is board up the holes in my fence, but I've tried this and covered them all up, except the ones I use regularly. But like I said before, the cats know
has a glory hole at home.
And while watching and chasing the cats in my yard, I've actually seen them jump this 6-foot fence in a single bound. It's crazy. I am so jealous of their skills. So fixing the gaps alone won't help, as when I close that one up, they just find another way into my yard. And then they usually bring back up as well. And at least when this gap is open, I know the exact point at which they will enter my yard, allowing me to set up some traps. Okay, my first trap is going to be some cucumbers. And I'm sure you've all seen these videos where cats freak out about cucumbers in hilarious ways. And some people reckon it's because they are snake-shaped, scaring the cats and stressing them out. And after testing it first on humans, I reckon this could work. So I put 3 down under the gate in front of Rattus's house and left them there overnight to scare some cats. And first up is this chubby black boy, who seems slightly hesitant, but still manages to squeeze his tummy under the gate and crosses the cucumber front line before the camera cut out. And then this patchy girl, who doesn't think twice about them and walks right on over. And to no one's surprise, cucumbers don't seem to do anything. I also decided to try putting them in the shape of a snake, but nah, that didn't work either. Now, I'm starting to realize this probably only works on dumb cats that have never actually seen snakes, not on Aussie cats. They don't care at all. And actually, I don't even know why I've been mucking around with the vegetable version. I should just try the real thing. And I picked this guy out as I thought it looked pretty similar to this thick boy, the native death adder.
But doesn't
move,
though.
I think it's got a better chance of working if they can't see the snake at first and kind of get surprised by it. So I'll leave it behind this wall. And nothing. Maybe it's too dark and rainy, but the chubby cat did seem to look at it and
it's
did
the
not
movement
care.
though.
And it's probably because the cats in my yard are too chilled out. You know, they need to be on edge and super anxious. So I thought, what makes me paranoid? So catnip is either going to make them really calm or really aggressive. Either one is funny. And while researching catnip, I found that apparently even big cats, like lions, can't resist it. So I got a little sidetracked for a moment and reached out to my local zoo to ask if I could get their big cats high. And they're yet to get back to me, but they haven't said no. So hopefully, in a couple of weeks, you'll all see a news article titled "YouTuber Mauled to Death by Stoned Lions." But in the meantime, I managed to find a friend that was happy to let me drug their cat for YouTube views.
Wait, it makes them high.
And to see what catnip does. Thanks, Maddie.
Requiem for a Dream.
22 months. Can I get a welcome xQc?
Good reference.
Catnip belongs to the mint family, and when inhaled by cats, acts as a sedative. Once calm, cats usually roll and flip around with it in a playful manner. However, in some cats, it has a similar effect to LSD, producing hallucinations, and can cause some cats to become quite paranoid, especially when mixed, which is why you never mix your catnip, kids. And these paranoid properties, as well as the fact that it is an appetite suppressant, are exactly what I'm looking for. as hopefully the cats in my yard will be tripping out so hard and unhungry that they'll have no chance of catching my animals. And ignoring all the stuff I said earlier about cats as pets, this guy was actually very cute and a lot of fun to play with.
Milosh.
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 So let's see if the cats in my yard have a similar reaction. So I just set up a little bowl in their walking path and left it overnight. And first to come was this little chubby funster who doesn't seem to care and passes by twice more without having a whiff.
What's on his
and then
tail?
the same for this patchy
Is that a
girl.
bobcat?
And they don't really care. And that might be because my suburb has pretty high recreational use of catnip. So the cats in my yard have built up a tolerance and are used to much higher quality, stronger stuff. But it might also be because they can't properly smell it. So I built this cat tunnel, which will force whatever crawls through it to hopefully get
now we're
real
getting
close to
smarter,
the catnip,
finally.
getting a nice big whiff. And the first cat to come along is this pure white girl, who probably recognizes the old catnip tunnel trap and refuses to enter. And the same with this scared, old-looking guy who just runs away.
How do they know?
And then this patchy girl, who almost gets the courage to come inside the wonderful catnip tunnel, but then backs out. But then this big chubby fella comes along and, judging by his size, is not the best at self-control and passes straight through the tunnel, getting a good whiff of the catnip. And it must have taken a bit for the catnip to hit him as he comes back a bit later to get another whiff. And then he really gets into it, plonking his fat butt right in
Jesus,
front
man,
of the
come
camera.
on, man, what
He
is
then
that?
rolls around in it, covering his whole body and face in it. And this is probably the first time he's ever had a hit of catnip, as he is
xQc
absolutely loving it. Like, look at those pupils.
Jesus.
That is one high kitty.
Wait, chat. That's kind of insane though. That they have so much pleasure out of this, and there's no like repercussions that they have, like mentally or like bodily. How come the humans don't have that?
He will hopefully be too spaced out to touch any of my animals. But he seems to be the only one that really enjoys it. So I'm going to have to come up with something else to stop the other cats. And I thought,
That
what
is
do they
not what we
hate the
does.
most?
Hi.
Dogs. So I bought this dog pee stuff, which is meant to help you toilet train dogs. So you put it anywhere you want them to pee. And I just put a thick line of the stuff under the gate. And first to show up was this old guy. I've noticed
Wait,
he is
what?
very skittish and quite cautious. And he gave it a good sniff before deciding he didn't want anything to do with dog piss. But it didn't stop these other guys, who apparently love dog piss, and came under the gate rubbing themselves all over it, including this fat guy and my brother. And that didn't work, so let's move on to a commercial product, which looks a little like a landmine, but unfortunately is not. It's kind of a motion sensing disco
yeah, it looks
light
kinda
for
chill.
cats, so I'm just hoping my cats don't like disco. And first up is the shy old guy from before, who I reckon must have served in NAM, as he seems quite suspicious of the landmine and knows what's up. But he still can't resist
Jesus.
and gets too close, setting it off, freaking out, and runs to never be seen again that night. Then this patchy girl walks right in front of it with no hesitation and gets scared off, but then comes back
Oh,
only
that
4
thing is
minutes
insane.
later and pulls off some sweet Catwoman moves and figures out that she can just walk around the sensor in the bushes dodging the laser. Clever girl. And this just shows that being scared once doesn't really bother them, and they will just find another way to get into my yard. So I thought I would give it one last shot by putting all the obstacles in my yard
At the same
together,
time.
creating this
57 years,
beautiful
sheesh.
catwalk obstacle tunnel. It's amazing. So the plan is that they will enter here, getting a good whiff of the catnip, hopefully spacing them out. Then they head down past the dog piss, which puts them on edge.
Mark, Robert
then
from Wish.
they get to the snake,
Bro,
which is hidden behind.
That is exactly what I called them out. I was with them at the streamies, and we saw Mark Rober. I was like, "Yo, how do you feel?
R.I.P.
How do you feel about him as like your competitor?" He's like, "Yeah, we're not really competitors, man. Like he actually knows what he's doing, and he's actually kind of smart."
This block, hopefully scaring them.
And, I
And
mean,
then
it makes
if they
sense.
make it to the end, the
They have a
disco
different
ball goes
approach.
off and they have a party.
In video.
And
Have a
first
good
to arrive
day-to-day
is this
smile.
pair of demonic eyes, which belong to a chubby body. And he's a bit hesitant at first, but walks straight through the tunnel, ignoring everything before the camera
Jesus.
stops working. Then the old guy comes along and doesn't want anything to do with the tunnel. So then the patchy girl comes through and rather cautiously walks through the tunnel, ignoring the catnip and snake, before setting off the disco ball and sprinting into my yard. Then the chubby guy comes back again and must have remembered about the alarm going off as he walks to the end of the tunnel and plops himself down just in front of the sensor of the disco alarm, sitting there and just watching before the camera stops working
No
again.
way he knows.
And then lastly, this white girl enters the tunnel, ignoring the catnip
What's with the camera,
and
man?
goat
Pick the
piss
camera, bruh.
before eating the fish while completely ignoring the snake. And then the camera fails once again. So even with all the obstacles placed together, which did kind of scare the cats, they just keep coming back. If not through this gate, through another. And if I board that up, they just come in another way. I would literally have to put a dome over my whole yard to keep them out. Which means I'm going to have to do the thing I've been regretting the most and have some kind of social interaction with my neighbors that own the cats and awkwardly ask them if they can keep their cats locked up and to stop killing my animals.
How are you going?
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
Hey, how you going?
Okay.
Good, it's good. How's he going?
Yeah, no, he's going good. What can I do for you?
Just want to check how you going.
Yeah, I'm going good. How you going? Good.
Yeah.
Hey, actually, it's good you came by. Actually, dropped off your mail by mistake.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've actually the time here. I've got your mail as well. Which there you are.
This is just a receipt with a
An anthem.
on it.
Yep.
And after looking at the footage again, I've realized a lot of the cats don't seem to have collars. So I think my only option is to use this trap that I purchased to catch and relocate them. So I put this out with some tuna inside it and came back to check it the next morning.
Oh no, chap. There were some raccoons that were fucking up my trash cans. So at my mom's house, I set up some traps to catch the mother suckers, okay? And 3 days in a row, I caught my own cats trying to eat the food inside of the cage, man. What the fuck? Cats are so dumb. Cats are so fucking dumb, man.
This is terrifying. Whatever I caught broke out of the cage. Like, what kind of roided up cats do I have in my yard that are capable of bending metal?
The fuck?
And after watching the footage, you can see that this white girl seems pretty hesitant to enter the cage. And rightly so, after what I've been doing in my yard for the past week. But then she enters the trap and starts eating the tuna. And the camera doesn't capture the moment the trap closes, only the moments after, and this very, very angry cat. And I'm actually very impressed by these cats. Not only can they dodge laser sensors like Catwoman, but they can also read the Chinese instruction manual for this cage, allowing them to break out from the inside. And I'm almost relieved that it escaped. Like, what would it have done to me if it broke out of the cage while I was picking it up in the morning? And I realized I'm a bit dumb. What I should have done instead of using just tuna is I should have put catnip in the cage.
Oh
that way,
my
it would have
god.
been super chilled out and just accepted its circumstances.
What if he had put catnip on the walls, like sticky? No, it's a tunnel, but it's full of catnip. The whole thing. As they move, they rub it.
Like,
The more they fight it, the higher they get.
Life breaking out cages again.
To the point where they get so fucking high they can't do anything.
My house is a cage, my car's a cage, the whole society's a cage, bro. It's all the same. You just gotta chill out.
yeah, hopefully that happens. So I'm going to reinforce the cage with some of these L brackets that should hopefully stop the cage from bending upwards and releasing the gate. And then use catnip with fish as bait. So I left it out overnight in a different location, and in the morning, the cage was broken once again.
Who did that?
Actually, again. Oh, is this the other side now? Come on. I need to buy a new cage. So it's actually bent it.
But this time, the other side. And unfortunately, this cheap game cam didn't work and capture anything.
This
Now,
game
I
is
could
fucking
reinforce
dog
this
shit.
side and try again, but I've decided to throw in the towel. As firstly, I'm wasting all my family's tuna, and it also looks pretty traumatic for the cats. and I can imagine that they probably injured themselves trying to escape the metal cage.
Yeah,
and also,
bad.
I can't imagine this being effective in the long term either, as I would have to capture all the cats in my yard, and even if I did manage to do that, more would just come along and fill their place. So I'm just hopeful that these experiments were stressful enough that they are going to stay clear for at least a while. And it's probably just a coincidence, but for the first time in a year, a magpie has returned to my yard. And judging by how friendly and unscared it is, I'm pretty sure it's one of the babies that I trained before in an earlier video, and now it's back with a brand new shiny coat. I also had a beautiful kookaburra and currawong take a dip in my pool, but since the cats are still around, this probably isn't a good thing, as they do look very delicious. And I kind of have no idea what I'm meant to do now. If you have any suggestions, I would love that. Like, how am I actually meant to stop these cats? Like, the Australian government has proposed a plan to drop millions of poisoned sausages into the bush to kill the cats. But cats aren't the only ones that enjoy a good sausage sizzle, and that might just result in the extinction of every man over 40.
Chad, there's
or
no
maybe
nice
I
birds
could
in
follow
LA.
the government's classic cane toad, cane beetle solution. Actually, yeah, that could work. So make sure to tune in next week when I introduce wolves to my yard to deal with my cat problem. But for now, you win, cats. You sexy, sexy cats. Thank you so much for watching. If you like that, please subscribe and check out some of my other videos that I mentioned.
When I met him, okay, listen, chat. I'm not gonna get mad at you guys, okay? Actually, I could probably get mad at the state of Twitch, dude. He was telling me, he saw me react to one of his videos, and he was like, dude, man, but you didn't laugh. And then I had to explain to him that whenever he makes edgy jokes, because he does in his other videos, not this one, but his other videos, when he makes, you know, culturally insensitive jokes, I can't laugh, okay? Because if I laugh, you know, I mean, people try to cancel me, I'll get banned. So I had to tell him that I wasn't reacting hard or reacting harder because I just couldn't, man. I couldn't. And I felt bad, you know. Yeah, he asked genuinely. He was like, "Yeah, you didn't laugh or whatever." I was like, "Fuck, man, my bad, brother." So Tarkov, we're gonna go to bed. Maybe. Yeah, I think they better give me drops something like that. When I was in the bathroom, they sent me a DM. Battle state. Oh, let me check.